technically, despite having the most wins in both the AL and all of Major League Baseball, 52 of them for New York, no longer the best winning percentage.
You expect your front offices to hit that gas pedal when it comes time to get a better team on the field post All-Star break, because the one thing that you know from the Yankees and the Orioles is what, Ben? You're going to fight with each other throughout the stretch here, and you want home field advantage.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You know, this guy is the mad scientist. I mean, he's all about green density. So in my mind, I feel like he's going to have the green speeds dialed in, and the angles he needs to land them and all that sort of stuff. I feel like he's going to be a good spot and playing the course well. And he's going to be hitting less club into a lot of these par threes too. So I just, we're talking about using a live guy. I love Bryson this week. I'm riding with Bryson.
Only on SportsGrid.
This new sports integrity partnership, Genius Sports, is involved in this. More protection.
They said that's going to allow them to beef up their protection and add more integrity monitoring tools to essentially catch bad behavior before it happens. This comes, obviously, after a just ton of scandals we've had across sports betting lately, whether it's the MLB umpire, Pat Hoberg.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Despite me being a Yankee fan, I think Joe would deserve the label as Aaron Judge's biggest fan, not through any bias, but just through the amount of money that he's made anybody who's been betting on him.
I just had him for that home run, and I'm going to go back to it today. That home run coming in at plus 230. Max Fried here, while he has been strong, this is Aaron Judge.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions, back with you right here on SportsGrid. I'm Kevin Walsh on this Tuesday night. We have 2 hours to go. Talk some Olympics, talk some Major League Baseball. Dinger Tuesdays providing a delightful slate of action. 3 dingers on the board so far. 6 picks on the Major League Baseball slate for myself tonight outside of the dinger selection. Some juice out there, some unders as well. Totals looking a tick too high on this Tuesday. I think the important note is to just acknowledge that Aaron Judge and the Yanks are off this slate, because Aaron Judge tonight was going to hit at least one, if not multiple, home runs against the Angels. Keep that in your back pocket for tomorrow, where the Yankees could very well play a doubleheader against the LA Angels. But we need to get down to business. We need to start this off with the Olympics and what's been ongoing, where the medal counts are looking like. Firstly, with the United States right now, 24 golds on the board. The total medal count is absolutely dominant, 86 in total right now. And, of course, we're going to talk some Olympic basketball. The USA winning. They're hoping to win some gold there. You see some of the most recent results with a gold medal coming on the board in athletics. So we're going to continue to get into all of the action for the United States. But as far as the total medal count here across really the entire Olympics, with a, of course, focus on the golds, the USA did finally catch and pass China for the most gold medals. Again, total, you see the dominance that the USA provides. They were around minus 2,000 in that market pre-Olympics. Now, they were still big-time favorites for the most gold medals, but that was around minus 750. That had dropped a touch into that minus 400 range. So while there was some shifting, the USA did do a nice job bouncing back in some recent results there and getting some more golds on the board. Let's talk Olympic basketball, though, again, because that is where we are expecting another gold medal to be put on board, the men's Olympics, as well as the women's, which will pick up their knockout stage tomorrow. And, we'll be involved there, no doubt. USA beats Brazil 122-97, a dominant victory, a cover, and a smash of an over here, as the USA right now is providing by far and away the best offense in this tournament. They are by far and away the best team in this tournament. LeBron James did leave at the back end of the third quarter. I think they actually have come out and said he had stitches, so I guess a little knock there somewhere in the head area for LeBron. Should be no issues, though, for him moving forward, as he is the favorite to win tournament MVP. And despite the early exit, nothing from the game today is really going to shift the odds against him. Kevin Durant only with 11. LeBron outscoring KD, 9 assists on the board for King James. Devin Booker did lead the way, though, with 18 points and is very likely going to become the favorite to lead Team USA in total made threes now at this tournament. Steph Curry, for the first time in these Olympics, scoreless from beyond the arc. An underrated storyline, really, of the Olympics so far has been Steph Curry. He's been bad. I mean, simply put, if you want to talk about changing lineups on merits as everybody's looked to attack Joel Embiid, and while some of that is valid, Steph Curry's not really earning his keep in that starting lineup. I get it with gravity, and I'm not saying bench Steph, but it's been remarkable to see Team USA. Again, they are by far the best three-point shooting team in this Olympics. And I told, again, the concerns about this team shooting the basketball, totally misguided from some. But for Team USA, their best shooter has not shot it well in Steph Curry. It's going to be really interesting to see at what point can Steph break out and cash big-ticket items, because right now he's leaving a lot on the table on a game-to-game basis. One other just big-picture thing that I think is worth mentioning with the men's Olympics basketball is just the way this team continues to shift rotations here. And if you look at who they've played now so far, 4 basketball games, they opened it up with Serbia, and then South Sudan, Puerto Rico, and Brazil. Their last 3 games, you're talking about a team laying 25-plus in all 3 instances here. The USA is going to meet Serbia. We'll talk about their game with Australia in the next one. That's 16.5. If that game plays inside that distance there, who gets crunched down from the minutes-wise, and who do we see start to up it a little bit, and who could play 30 or so minutes here on the Olympic stage? Something to really keep your eyes on from the props perspective when these teams are back in action on Thursday. The big result that we saw today was France upsetting Canada. And for France, an 82-73 victory. Victor Wembanyama did his thing on the glass defensively. We saw Evan Fournier hit some really important three-point shots. Somewhat the story is the fact that Rudy Gobert was benched in this basketball game. Not only coming off the bench, but barely playing a lick here for France. But they jumped all over Team Canada. They had held Canada to 10 points in the first quarter. That team barely was able to crack the double-digit marker. I mean, they had 5 points with around 2 minutes to go in that quarter. So France really put in a shift on the defensive side of the basketball. And as an 8-point dog, they've really upset a lot of things here. Canada was creeping towards a minus 200 favorite to medal at the Olympics. You now have a situation where France, who was a plus 430 price to win a medal, here they are. That team was 12-1 to win a bronze. They were around plus 750, 800 to win silver, and around 50-1 heading into the knockout stage to win gold for France. Again, a remarkable situation here. They're going to meet Germany. We put our eyes back towards that morning slate, though. I'm sure for some, they weren't up early enough to get involved with the action. You did miss a great one between Serbia and Australia, but what really was also a complete collapse, no other way to describe it here, for Australia. This team went on a 20-0 run in the first half. They were up 24 points in the second quarter. That lead was gone during the third quarter. Again, a legitimate collapse. They were able to get it to overtime due to a Patty Mills-made bucket, but Jokic and company just far too much for Australia in overtime. And Nikola Jokic is now positioned to lead the Olympics in total rebounds. He's one of the top 2 choices to lead the Olympics in total points, and he's not far off in odds to lead the Olympics in assists. It has been incredible to see Nikola Jokic play at this level, which I'm sure for Denver Nuggets fans is exciting. But I'll say this. Again, we talk about who's shining. Yes. Who's not? Jamal Murray, just quickly, Team Canada. I mean, he's been atrocious. He was atrocious during the playoffs. He's been atrocious in all these games for Canada. I don't know if he's still injured. I don't know if just he is aware that a contract could be coming his way at some point. I don't know what's going on there, but he has looked bad, bad, bad. No other real way to describe it, certainly, for Jamal Murray. And then game number 1 this morning, it was Germany and it was Greece. A 76-63 victory for Team Germany there. Dennis Schroeder flirted with a double-double. Franz Wagner led the way with 18 points. And that's one of the big things about this result here is Franz Wagner is the new favorite to lead the Olympics in total points. Giannis exits with 103 points on the board and has been the best scorer overall, averaging more than 25 points per game through his 4 games. But you would now have a scenario where Franz Wagner, who is, again, that second option, would have to be held under 20 points in order for Giannis to be the leading scorer. Very unlikely, knowing that anybody that's advanced to the semis does have 2 games remaining. The 2 winners, of course, will be meeting in the final, and then you're going to get that bronze game. The updated odds for this tournament here. USA minus 600. They are expected to play Germany at a plus 650 price. Serbia 16-1. France checks in at a 24-1. That number more than cut in half from what we saw. Let's talk a little bit of baseball. We got plenty of baseball picks. A quick pick for you. It's Lamont Wade Jr. over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. The lefty has been brilliant against lefties. Mitchell Parker, a lefty for the Nationals, has struggled quite a lot against lefties. Lefty. Oppo splits. Get that plus 105 there. Mackenzie Gore. Not Mitchell Parker, but Mackenzie Gore still a lefty struggling there. And then some notable guys who could potentially go deep tonight. Your shortest number, Marcelo Zuna or Yordan Alvarez, plus 255. You see the Ohtani price at plus 340 in a lefty-lefty matchup with Chris Sanchez. We're going to talk all the dingers next right here on SportsGrid.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah, we'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center, here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is proving to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, a little mop-up duty here, even though I did do it in the segment. And, again, if there was ever going to be an easy thing to correct in a segment, it was going to be me messing up a Nationals pitcher. Appreciate the help behind the scenes. But let's go through your Major League Baseball card with what is Lamont Wade Jr.'s over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI, legitimately being my favorite bet there. Again, confusing the Nats pitchers, but the information is still there. Mackenzie Gore, as a lefty, .311 batting average to opposing lefties. It's one of those scenarios that I've really liked to bet on this year where you can tell teams stack righties against him, but it's the lefties that have given him trouble. And Lamont Wade Jr. bats third here tonight, and he is batting a nonsensical, albeit small sample size, 450 against left-handed bats this year as a lefty. I'm absolutely good to give this a shot at plus 105. It's my favorite action on tonight's card from the Major League Baseball perspective, though it's not my only. I am good. Now, weather is going to have to allow some situations to involve. Like, truly, Aaron Judge tonight, like if he was even money to hit a home run, I probably still would have made the bet. That's how excited I was for a Judge homer tonight. Weather took that game away from us. It might take Guardians, Diamondbacks away from us. If it does not, I am on Cleveland's money line at minus 116. We've got Lively going tonight here against Eduardo Rodriguez, making his first start in 2024. I get it. The D-backs are hot. They are red hot, and I had not been giving them enough credit while they were heating up. But this Guardians team now looking to snap a slight little 3-game losing streak here. They've been excellent at home all year long. A lot of the Diamondbacks damage has been done in the desert, so I'm going to look for the Guardians money line here at minus 116. My other money line play comes on the Chicago Cubs at minus 108. Now, the money line here is not the most important story, so to get that out of the way, this is simply me looking to play Shoto and Minaga post-break at good numbers. It's something I talked about as we left the All-Star break, and it's something that if you have continuously bet, you have not lost yet, as the Cubs have not lost yet in any of the Imanaga starts. But it's not like it's exclusively some Imanaga brilliance. He has had some good starts. His last one, he did allow a lot of hits. It was only 4 earned. He's been able to get some help from the bats, but they are 3-0 with Imanaga on the mound. Pablo Lopez has just not been all that spectacular, despite having some good priors that I still think the book factors in. For me, I'm liking the Cubs here at this price at home with Imanaga, but the story of this game is the total. A total that was 5.5 overnight. It's up to 6 in spots, maybe some 6.5s here, and it is not really difficult to figure out why. It is wind, weather, Wrigley, wind, Wrigley, weather. You get the story. And that's what we've got here tonight. If this was still 5.5, I'd be giving you the over, though. I just find that to be ridiculous. Again, pitchers can walk batters. We can get base hits on ground balls. Not everything has to be a home run fest here. With the total at 6, I even still consider playing the over because we do not have a matchup right now between Zach Wheeler and Paul Skeens, right? That's not what we have on our hands here. So this total, while it's still pretty low, since I want to back Imanaga, that's where I'm going to focus here, and that's what I'm going to do with the Chicago Cubs money line at minus 108. The rest of the action for me tonight involves unders. It starts with an under 8 between the Pirates and the Padres. Little shocked by this number here, and I think it has dropped in a few spots down to a 7.5. If the 8 is no longer accessible, I would be cautious because, of course, the situation with under 8 is you need 9 to lose, as opposed to worrying about the game needing 7 or less runs to win. Dylan Cease has been, over the last 4 starts, probably the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, and that's why we've seen that charge in that NL Cy Young market. I think it's too much ground to make up personally, but Cease is certainly going to give it a go, leading right now Major League Baseball in strikeouts at 174, which has absolutely been incredible. In his last 4 starts, he has allowed a total of 5 hits and 1 earned run. I mean, he's just been out of this world here. So that kind of takes care of one aspect of it. The other is Bailey Falter going tonight. Bailey Falter is solid at home. He's been a tick better. And as a lefty here, the Padres, I don't think will be ready to take advantage. And I think we've got ourselves a scenario where this game plays under at 8 runs. I'm also taking under 11.5 in Rockies Mets. Now, I am also going to end up with some level of props in this game, or at minimum a dinger. We're going to do the dingers in the next segment here. There's 3 on the card. There will be more coming. You guys know me, line up, but I wanted to lock in what I could now. The Mets lineup has since come out. I just haven't been able to figure out where I want to go. I don't like playing hits, runs, RBIs at 2.5, so I won't play any 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs, certainly not with anybody on the Mets. That's saved exclusively for the Judge, Ohtani, and that might be it, quite frankly. Maybe Bryce Harper, right? It's a very, very elite group of guys that I'd only be willing to play 2.5 hits, runs, RBI. But I might find an RBI prop here, maybe a run scored prop. There could be still some juice in this Mets lineup, but I'm still playing under 11.5. Kyle Freeland's been untouchable so far at Coors. It's this bizarre thing that sometimes happens where guys have the reverse expectation splits. They're incredible at Coors. They're terrible on the road. That's what you have in Kyle Freeland. And in Luis Severino, clear and obvious bounce-back spot, rocked by Minnesota in his last outing, giving up 6 earned runs. He's allowed 2 earned or less in the following start of giving up 4 earned or more almost every single time this season. So I really do trust Severino here, bounce-back style, to play under the 11.5. But there will be some activated dingers for me in this one. The last bet that is involved is a game where the Seattle lineup has come out. But I played this beforehand, and I know that lineup tonight might provide us a little bit of juice as well. The new guys, Randy Arozarena could potentially make the card. But I'm going to fade Keider Montero here, a 1-5 record, the ERA above a 6. I think the Seattle lineup can give him some troubles here, but also 16.5 outs is way too many. If you look, he went 7 innings his last start, 88 pitches. This guy does not touch 100 pitches. I think he's in a spot to be blown up, and I don't see him going 6 innings here of work. That is 5 2/3 there. I think it's 5 innings or less. I actually am not sure he sees the 5th inning. I think he could be lit up here in this baseball game by the Seattle Mariners. We'll get some dingers from that game, but there are three on the board right now. We get to those next here on SportsGrid.
Incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night it is going to be. Historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, back right here, live on SportsGrid, Dinger Tuesday. So we've got some Major League Baseball picks on the board, but we're looking for some home runs as well. Let's get involved with what is already laid out. It starts with Michael Conforto. Again, Lamont Wade Jr. is the over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI play for me in this game. But Michael Conforto for the San Francisco Giants gives us that lefty-lefty that we're looking for. And at plus 520, Conforto, far more propensity to go deep this season, so I think that's what we've got to focus in on here. At a plus 520 number, I'm happy to make this play here on Michael Conforto to go deep. I think it's climbed up a tick. If you'd like, around plus 540, so don't be too scared of missing out. But that's where I'm going to go in that baseball game. Game number 2, Blue Jays-Orioles. Gunnar Henderson, plus 450. It's a really good spot here for Gunnar Henderson, of course. Lights up, right-handed bats. Batting now over 300 against righties this season. Chris Batsett's struggles are against the left-handed side of the plate. 9 of the 12 home runs he has allowed have come against left-handed bats, despite only 11 more total at-bats against left-handed hitters. So you can tell that is where he struggles giving up home runs this season. A 291 batting average allowed as well for Chris Bassett against guys on that side of the dish. If you'd like, and I've made this mistake myself at times, where Dinger Tuesday, I only play the home runs. Maybe you don't end up getting the home runs that you're looking for, but those guys can check other boxes, okay? Michael Conforto, you could easily play hits, runs, RBI. Gunnar, you could likely play that RBI shot. And Vinny Pasquantino, you can make plenty of options on as well. I'm going to get him involved here at a plus 680 number tonight with the Kansas City Royals hosting Brian Bello and the Boston Red Sox here. Bello is at the moment allowing 276 batting average to lefties, 274 batting average to righties. Batting average is where I like to start everything off here. But then when you look at it, only 2 more at-bats to right-handed hitters. Yeah, it doesn't matter. 5 additional home runs to the left side of the plate there. So while Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez have good numbers righty on righty, and again, those good numbers certainly then could justify making plays on those guys in, hits, runs, RBI, or whatever you might want to do. Pasquantino's the man I'm looking for to go deep here. And that's what I'm going to do here with that plus 680 number tonight on Vinny Pasquantino, who I believe has 13 home runs this season. Against right-handed pitching. That's how we get involved. Now, there are a couple of other spots that I've tried to look up and identify. I mentioned Rockies Mets. The guys that So, Kyle Freeland actually this year as a lefty has been awful against righties. He's also been awful against lefties. He's just hardly faced any lefties. Brandon Nimmo, though, as a lefty, has been good against lefties if you'd like. If not, you could potentially go with Mark Vientos, J.D. Martinez, or Jose Iglesias. All this season have been good against lefties. I have not figured out where I want to go with that yet. I'll let you know certainly, though. That game's going to be at 8:40. The Mariners, I mentioned going with that Montero under outs recorded. It's Victor Robles, it's Randy Arozarena, and it's Justin Turner. It's the 3 newbies that all check out and qualify. I'm leaning towards Victor Robles, actually. At least from a hits, runs, RBI perspective. I know Arozarena has more pop in his bat, but Victor Robles here, I think, could be the guy for me in this spot with the Seattle Mariners. Also, we don't have the Phillies lineup yet, but Kershaw, small sample size. He's not been great. A lot of the Phillies hit lefties, man. It's something to keep tabs on. The last thing I will tell people is A's White Sox should almost kind of be an automatic Dinger Tuesday game, right? Because Ross Stripling and Jonathan Cannon are going. Both of these lineups are not very good, quite frankly. First of all, Ross, my oh my. The White Sox do not have a single active batter that is hitting 250 plus against right-handed pitching. Not a single batter that is currently active. What is that, man? I mean, again, if you want to play Louis Robert or Vaughn, I get it. I'm not doing it, though. I'm not putting money on these guys. I'm just not. The Athletics, if you're going against Jonathan Cannon, you need a lefty. Well, this team's got Lawrence Butler, J.J. Bleday, Seth Brown, and then Abraham Choro, who's going to switch it here. If you just want to principal play one of them, you can. I got to dive a little bit further back in now that the lineups are settled and figure out if any of those numbers pop off for me. But again, the 3 on the board at the moment: Michael Conforto, Gunnar Henderson, and Vinny Pasquantino. We've got Tom Vecchio on deck for the people, though, not only with some Dinger Tuesdays, but I've heard NFL season-long player props. Tom Vecchio's checking in. He's getting ready. Football season within a month. We'll talk about it with Tom next.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fight. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Little left hand from Rockwell. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Let's make it happen, folks. Game time decisions. We need to make a couple of more. We have Tom Vecchio to help us do that. Tom, how are you, sir, on a delightful Tuesday?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we have a full slate. It's also a slate that's being impacted by weather in a few different spots. One of the picks that I have got delayed. I'm ready to go if you are. We can hop right into this.
Yeah, I think we should, Tom. Talk to me. Who's hitting home runs here on this Tuesday slate?
Well, hopefully Jose Ramirez is J-Ram. And, you know, this is one of the games that was supposed to start at 640. It actually got delayed. He's up at plus 450. So delay is great. He's going up against Eduardo Rodriguez, who's making his first start of the year. We look back to last year versus righties, 378 slugging allowed, 39% fly ball rate, 0.99 home runs per nine. And J-Ram is crushing lefties this year. It's absolutely unbelievable. With a 351 ISO, 43% fly ball rate, 47% hard contact rate. He's got 206 WRC plus, which is just hilariously good. So it is in a delay right now. Hoping that it clears up. It's hot there, obviously, with the rain. So that'd be a great spot to start. Next up, Anthony Santander for the Orioles at plus 340. This is a righty-righty matchup versus Chris Bassett. But we have seen 24 of the 32 home runs for Santander come versus righties this year. So this is great. He's crushing it. 137 WRC plus, 361 WOBA. He's got a 290 ISO, 58% fly ball rate, and a 34% hard contact rate. At surface level stats for Chris Bassett, numbers seem okay, but if you actually look at his month-over-month changes, his slugging allowed, his xFIP allowed, and his fly ball rate allowed versus righties have all increased as the season has gone on. So just give me a great hitter in an awesome, powerful lineup against Chris Bassett.
Yeah, I'm fading Bassett myself. I'm using Gunnar Henderson in this spot. Tom, was there anything else that I know, again, it's Tuesday. We always kind of look at the home runs, but was there anything else from this baseball slate that you were kind of eyeing up today or just anything that people should take note of?
Yeah, I do like the Cleveland money line. I'm on that as well. Like I just don't trust a pitcher like Erod. He's okay overall, but this is his first start. I just also think Cleveland, they're a good team, and what is it, 3-game losing streak? It's the odds of baseball. I just like them bouncing back, especially near even money against the pitcher making his first start. Not too worried about that. Probably have some interest when it comes to Jorge Soler, maybe for a home run. He's been getting some good underlying metrics since he rejoined the Braves after the trade. I just couldn't get myself sold on that number. But with the plus 200 boost on DraftKings, that you can use that on him as well. That's probably the second spot that I'd go. And then ultimately looking out west, probably to do something with the Phillies, maybe some unders on Kershaw. I know he got rocked in his last start. I just don't know if he has the pitch count to get super deep into games anymore, or at least as of now, not anymore, but right now.
Yeah, I think the Kershaw sample size is a little tricky to know what to do with, because in some respects it says fade, fade, fade. You figure he's going to have to come back to the middle, but that means it's going to be some great starts that get him back to the middle. So I've been trying to figure that out myself. Tom, before we do the football, just quickly, Olympics, we had full slate today. Anything stand out to you from the Olympic hoops today?
Yeah, I had LeBron over 12.5 rebounds plus assists, and he ends up 12 because he leaves the game to get stitches, so that wasn't great. But
yeah, I don't love that for you.
Yeah, the other games kind of went, I wouldn't say as I expected. Obviously, a massive comeback. Jokic and Serbia is great. Some of the track events have been awesome. I was a runner, so I like watching those. But I'm ready for the next round of basketball. And kind of what I said about LeBron is he's going to get his points, but I don't think he's going to be a big time scorer. He's going to be that distributor. He led the team with 9 assists today, so constantly looking to peripheral stats for LeBron and someone like Booker or Anthony Edwards to lead the team in points.
Interesting. So, wow, Tom the runner. I didn't know this. Do you still run a lot?
No, absolutely not. No.
Sounds like I could beat Tom in a race. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing here. Tom, go ahead. Set the line for me. Me and you, 40-yard dash. We'll do it. Just ballpark a line.
The differential between us?
No. Like if you were setting an outright market, me versus you.
Oh. I'd probably be minus
300. All right. Interesting number. I'll have to shop around, see what else I can find. Tom, I know you're locking in some NFL season-long action. What do you have so far?
A lot of season-long props for me, getting those underway. Let's go to Tyler Lockett, under 775.5 receiving yards. Sitting at minus 110, of course, always shop for the best lines. I've seen some big discrepancies between some lines where a player will be at 750 on one book, be at 700 on another book. So, of course, always look for that. Lockett's been super consistent, especially the past 5-6 years, but this is his 10th NFL season. Yes, he has been unbelievably consistent in fantasy and betting. He rarely missed a game. He doesn't drop the ball, all those sorts of things. But when we look at this offense overall, we look at the offensive line rating for the Seahawks, wherever you look across the industry, they're consistently ranked 31st or 32nd. And we also have an offense with DK Metcalf, and a lot of people are expecting JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba to take a big step forward. So we have 2 younger receivers, and not to mention the fact that we have a really, really bad offensive line. It just doesn't set up for all of these players to have awesome years when Geno Smith is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not a quarterback that can, I wouldn't say, sustain 3 receivers all over 800 yards. That's not going to happen. So I will just simply take Lockett, who's the oldest of them, to simply take a little bit of a step back. Does not say that I won't be willing to bet Lockett on a week-to-week basis if someone else is out. I think there still will be value in that area. Just overall in the season, him going for 800 yards for the 7th year in a row is just not something I see when he turns 32 at the end of September.
Tell me, Tom, and less me and I guess more the people, but are there certain things, the Lockett breakdown, right, it's an excellent breakdown, but what are you looking for when you're trying to go through season-long NFL player props? Because I've often found it's a market filled with landmines. So often people reach out, man, this number looks really light. And I often tell them, it is. But the amount of injuries that cost you these props, if you look to play them to the over, it is jarring how frequently that is the deciding factor.
Yeah, I like a lot of unders this year. And, whether it's the offense, whether it's, I don't want to talk about like injuries being the reason I'm taking an under because that can happen to any player. But most of the time it's the offense, what they're doing. looking at projections, averaging out projections, and then looking at, some underlying metrics. Like, I like Jerry Jeudy under this year. Whether or not Ayuk goes there, I don't think that's a big deal. But, he doesn't have underlying metrics when it comes to his average depth of target, his yards per out run. Nothing jumps off the page and is telling me this is a player that's going to crush it this year. He may have a good year, maybe slightly better than last year, but that's not something that's jumping off the page. A player that I'm high on this year would be Nico Collins, because I think that offense is going to be explosive. Their pass rate was 12th in the league last year. I think that's only going to increase with another year with C.J. Stroud. Yes, they added Stephon Diggs in the offseason. That is going to be a pass-first offense. Tank Dell's going to be back fully healthy. So when I have trust in the quarterback who passed for 4,100 yards in his rookie year, that pass rate is going to increase as they more and more trust in C.J. Stroud in a pass-first offense. So yes, it's busy with the other options, but C.J. Stroud has shown, even in his rookie year, that he can sustain multiple high-volume receivers.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all great breakdowns. I think just what you said, you don't want the primary reason to play an under to be, well, this guy's going to get injured. Now, there are players it's more of a factor than others. Aaron Rodgers, right? But I just have been, because Don and I always on the early line made sure that we would give him out, and very often, injuries would be the deciding factor. Though, ironically, last year, the two that I lost, because I try to focus in on 3 for this show, Mac Jones, despite getting a million chances, was still benched, and Tony Pollard having the single most outlier, I can't find the end zone season, probably in NFL history, and I think Tom can confirm that the Pollard touchdown stuff was beyond outlier last year. Correct, Tom?
Yeah, his expected touchdowns, if you look at the differential, is massive. Mac Jones, obviously, I just don't think he's a good quarterback, but the Pollard one probably burns the most.
Yeah, the Mac stuff, it was what it was. He was going to get there if he wasn't benched, but he was just that bad. We can talk to Adam Kaufman about it, who's next, and I probably doesn't think that he's going to have to talk Mac Jones if anything Patriots is going to come up. But, Tom, incredible stuff. As always, we're back with you right here. More Game Time decisions on SportsGrid.
Setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night it is proving to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the turn. Right hand from my boy, double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, back right here. Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you, joined by Adam Kaufman, who did an excellent job holding it down here on Game Time Decisions yesterday. Adam, always good to get a chance to talk a little ball with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity to keep your seat warm until you came back. It's good to see you.
Adam, we just were talking to Tom, and I somehow, it's my own fault, mentioned a Mac Jones bet I lost last year, and I'm not going to make you talk about that. I will ask you, though, about all of the Brandon Ayuk rumors that are going on right now with the Patriots seemingly at the forefront, certainly one of the most important teams involved in those conversations, and what you think about everything surrounding that situation right now.
Well, first off, if you want to talk Mac Jones for the next 25 minutes, I'm happy to do so because I couldn't say enough in dumping on that guy. But putting all of that aside, Brandon Ayuk and his prospective new quarterback, be it Jacoby Brissett or obviously Drake May here in New England, yeah, sounds like he has a choice to make based on all the reporting that's come out of NBC Sports Bay Area. It is Ayuk really choosing at this point between the Patriots, the Browns, maybe even the Steelers, who, according to reports today, are back in the picture as far as a trade partner. Now, there are some, especially around New England, that believe that the Pats have been used in this situation to try and entice the Steelers to come back to the table. Maybe that is true. It really is interesting that we are at a point here in New England where, as I don't need to remind people, after 20 years of dominance and the dynasty and the 6 Super Bowl wins and Brady and Belichick and all of it, now that there is no more Belichick and most especially no more Brady, back in the day, Randy Moss, Darrelle Revis, you name it. I mean, guys were lining up to come to New England on the cheap for an opportunity to win. Now, this Brandon Ayuk situation perfectly encapsulates the fact that you may have to make him the highest paid player in the entire NFL among wide receivers to convince him to come to New England. That is how dire it has gotten here. Now, I think the Patriots honestly should do that if it is an option, and we know that they have a framework of a trade worked out with the Niners, but right now it's all about negotiating with the agent and the contract, and I would. You are the Pats. You have got the money. You have got tons and tons of financial flexibility in terms of salary cap space. I would give Brandon Ayuk the moon. He is a young guy. He can be around for the next 4 years with a quarterback that you just took number 3 overall in May that may not see the field a whole lot here in 2024, but obviously he is your guy of the future if everything goes according to the plan. And right now he has virtually no weapons around him in the passing game whenever he does take the field. You need a number one, a bona fide number one receiver, which Ayuk was sort of in the shadow of obviously Christian McCaffrey, but more so Deebo Samuel there in San Francisco and continues to be as we sit here right now. But you put him in a situation like New England where he is the no doubt about it number one receiver. He can at that point in time flash and do all the things that he does so well and be that number one and be 1,000-yard receiver and all of it. And plus, with the way that salaries year to year change so much in the NFL, and you could be the highest paid guy and the next year it's somebody else and then it's somebody else and somebody else and so on and so forth. All of that stuff sort of evens out in the wash eventually. Make him the move, guarantee the dollars. It makes all the sense in the world if you are New England and first-time GM Elliott Wolf. If they don't, it is a sorely missed opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, look, it's really well said there, Adam. I'm interested to see how much they can do because while Ayuk is giving up some level of win opportunity just leaving San Francisco, there's very few places he could land and you go, okay, it's a lateral move, right? So even if it's a Cleveland or Pittsburgh, it's a step down.
But hasn't all of this shown that he doesn't care about that anyway? He doesn't care about winning. I mean, not at least in the point that it's not the most important thing to him. If it were, he'd stay right there with a perennial Super Bowl contender, as opposed to toiling away with these would-be franchises in New England, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh.
I think, though, there is a considerable gap, which I think New England does not, for 2024, belong in the conversation with Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I like Drake May a lot, and I think their best route is to not play him at all this season. No franchise seems to be willing to take that level of patience except for Green Bay. It's worked incredibly for Green Bay twice, and nobody will copy it, but that's, I guess, neither here nor there. The reason why, though, I agree with you is legitimately, since the year Tom's last year in New England, the best wide receiver talent this team had was what, the 2 weeks Antonio Brown was in the building? I mean, it's been
No,
remarkable.
he was there
bad.
with Brady. Yeah, he was there with Brady.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's, since Brady, I mean, you had Julian Edelman that last year, for the one and only year with Cam Newton, of course, the year after Brady, that 2020 season. Edelman was actually on pace to have a career year, if not for the fact that he got hurt. But since then, I mean, look, it doesn't really matter the since, because we know the since has been ugly. The fact of the matter is, entering 2024, your number one weapon in the wide receiver game right now is Pop Douglas, Demario Douglas, a second-year receiver who led your team last year. There's no, Juju Smith-Schuster should be cut. I don't know what he's doing on the roster anyway. Devontae Parker obviously was cut loose and ultimately retired anyway. You have a couple of guys that they are high on that they just drafted, in the second and third rounds, and we'll see if those guys can become something. But this New England team is, by far, its most talented offensive player is Ramondre Stevenson, who they gave a big contract to here in the offseason. But again, he's a running back. Running backs are, I don't want to say they're a dime a dozen in the NFL, but you certainly can't count on them to be healthy long term. So it's a rebuild, to say the very least, here in New England. We know that, and you need to bring in real legitimate talent, which Ayuk is.
I agree, and also. And Adam, if you have time, I'd love to just keep you around. We'll do the baseball and everything like that.
Sure.
But the reality for New England is the way the NFL is, opportunity can come like this, right? And even if this year's supposed to be down, maybe they can surprise and go over win totals and things like that. But the world where the Jet stuff collapses even more than, I know it's obviously not like it's been great, right? Miami stuff is, I know they like Tua, but even though they paid him, they don't love Tua. And I don't know, like the Buffalo situation, they've not been able to break through. The world where New England can all of a sudden just rise up and be ready to strike, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Again, not supposed to be this year, but you need to be prepared for when that time is. We're going to have Adam Kaufman stick around. We're with you right here. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments. Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Look, left hand from Rockwell. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the target. Right hand from my boy, double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, we're back to right here, Game Time Decisions. We got Adam Kaufman sticking around, trying to figure out the Drake May plan throughout the commercial break, and it'll be interesting to see how New England goes about that, and if the Brandon Ayuk deal potentially lends itself to getting him out there even sooner, but to put football to bed for now while we still are allowed to talk baseball over football, which we didn't really do, and again, it kind of shows. Nevertheless, Adam, are you locked in on tonight's baseball board? There's a lot of interesting options, I feel, on this full Tuesday slate.
There are. One place that I was very quick to go to last night, and the line has ballooned, admittedly, but I still think it's a good play, is the Padres' first 5 money line with Dylan Cease on the mound in that one for San Diego. The Padres, when I got it, it was right around minus 150, I think. Now it's closer to 2-1, which is kind of crazy. But the fact of the matter is, Cease, and there's a reason I go first 5 here. It's because of the way, obviously, he is throwing the ball in particular and not that bullpen. Cease, if I'm not mistaken, has allowed 1 single run in his last 27, 28 innings, not to mention been a strikeout machine in the process. So this guy is absolutely dialed in. I think, yes, it's juiced. If you don't want to go to that length as a straight because you don't like paying all that juice, fine, make it a parlay piece if that's more your strategy. But I think it makes a lot of sense to go with San Diego. And so that's one spot that I have locked in that admittedly is probably a little bit chalky, but I have faith in the way that Cease is going right now. I like there are some random spots that I do like. The Twins, have the Twins been? They weren't rained out. The Twins in Chicago against the Cubs. I like the Twins as a good spot if you're looking for something closer to a pick'em, because that's basically what that is. I think it's minus 110 on either side. Sort of circling back though to the whole saying like trends are your friends. If you feel that, I just don't know how in the world you don't bet against the Chicago White Sox night in and night out right now, no matter what the line is. This is 21 straight losses for Chicago. Oakland on the mound. I know you're looking at it right there with the insane juice, minus 230. You can do better than that at some books. I'm seeing a minus 205 that's out there. But again, this was one that was last night. If you wanted to get ahead of it, and even after the A's won 4-1, 5-1, whatever it was still available at minus 175. So it's, again, the overnight line movement and money flooding in over the course of the day, because there are a lot of people like me that feel the same way. Sure, at some point in time, the White Sox, Kevin, are going to win a game, and it's going to be a nice plus money get for whoever it is that bet it. But the question is, how many times are you going to bet it before you're finally right? I would much rather be on the other side and invest in Oakland and consider this streak, something that is likely to continue, because this White Sox team absolutely stinks. We all know it. I mean, I don't think that highly of Oakland. I certainly don't think of Oakland as a minus 200 and change team. But when you've got the minor league White Sox on the other side, you kind of can't help yourself. Another one, just to throw it in here, the Phillies, especially after what happened last night. I like Philadelphia a lot tonight to bounce back. I took them first 5 money line. I took them on the full game money line. I actually went over the 8.5. That feels too low. Some of the projections that I was looking at from some of the places that I trust that have been profitable for me see this game going in the vicinity of 11 or 12 runs. I like this one to produce a lot of offense in LA tonight.
I'm excited to watch that one play out. I think this, man, it's so interesting to know what you do with Clayton Kershaw. We know the name, we know the pedigree. It's not been good so far. It's early. Sanchez has been good, road splits. But, man, it makes a lot of sense there, Adam. I will also say I'm sure you are keeping tabs on that Red Sox-Royals series. The thing for me is I think those two teams, if one of them is in, they will be legitimately threatening in the American League. Mm-hmm. I'm just not sure if there's room for more than one of those two teams, which makes games like tonight so important.
Well, look no further than the fact that 2 wildcard teams made it to the World Series last year. Did either of them even win 90 games? Maybe one of them. I mean, so I think it's very likely that, to your point, we see a wildcard team, even a second, third wildcard spot advance all the way and make a deep playoff run, why not one of these two teams? Now, the Red Sox are obviously on the outside looking in right now. They won last night. A lot of people didn't think Paxton was going to be able to take them to that point against Singer. Now you got a difficult game tonight. Red Sox once again at plus money on the money line. And I am again invested in Boston. Brian Bayo, despite the numbers, because he has not been very good this year. There's no running away from that. His ERA is around 5, but he has been solid over his last 3, 4, 5 starts. Much more in control with quality starts. So I like him tonight to keep the momentum going. And I know we're short on time. I just need to mention to all the scared children out there who wondered if USA could cover on the basketball. My God!
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fight. It was a big night of memorable moments. Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Left hand from Ron Paul. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night it is going to be. Historic indeed for BKFC's 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the turn. Right hand from Mike Perry. Double check. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, back to right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, and we've got some news Major League Baseball-wise. A game coming up in 5 minutes. That's Blue Jays-Orioles. That sees Grayson Rodriguez scratched. That should change some numbers there, and also could change the way people bet that one. I don't see anything locked, but the fellas I do trust in the back. That's what we're hearing. Grayson Rodriguez out there playing the Toronto Blue Jays, and no person better to help us talk Blue Jays baseball than the one and only Joe Madden. Joe, great to see you. How we feeling for a Tuesday slate?
Feeling pretty good for this Tuesday. Excited for these games to get underway, and it will change how I'm going to bet the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles without Grayson Rodriguez and question marks on who they'll start.
What were you looking for in that game, Joe? And do any of your plays still make it out with the change potentially for Grayson Rodriguez there?
Yeah, I was looking at the over 8.5 in this one, and there's still possibility of it hitting because Toronto, I really don't trust the bullpen here, and I don't trust Chris Bassett. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the Baltimore Orioles team total now. I'm assuming it's going to be 4.5, and I'm just going to take that straight to the over since we don't know who will be coming out here for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm expecting the Toronto Blue Jays still be able to hit in this one depending on who comes out because I do think Grayson Rodriguez is one of their arms that you can trust out there for the Baltimore Orioles, but we've seen Toronto be strong with Vladdy being able to get those home runs on the board. So I'm still going to look at Vladdy to come out here and get the home run. He was coming in at plus 480. And then on the other side, for the Orioles, I'm going to circle Gunnar Henderson. Now, Gunnar Henderson for that home run coming in at plus 420. And I think he has every ability to get it here. Chris Bassett coming out for the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't trust him. Chris Bassett has had his struggles, and he's a fade every time he comes out to the mound. So give me the Orioles team total over the 4.5 instead of the full game. And then give me the home runs for Gunnar Henderson and Vladdy.
All right, so we're looking for some potential home runs there. I'm on Gunnar Henderson myself, Joe. And we do have a Michael Conforto home run, by the way, for those that did get involved with Michael Conforto there, which is nice to see. It just so happens they're playing the Washington Nationals, which has nothing to do with my decision there, but certainly does increase the excitement a little bit. Joe, what about this Rays-Cardinals game here? Sonny Gray gets the baseball for St. Louis. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, you got to play on Sonny Gray in this one. Sonny Gray has been so phenomenally strong at getting those strikeouts on the board. I'm actually going to ult his number, Kevin. His strikeout prop is coming in at 6.5. I'm going to have to lay too much juice at the 6.5 at minus 144. And I don't knock anyone who just goes straight with that number, but I don't like laying that much juice. I'm going to ult him to 8+ strikeouts in this one. That's coming in at plus 140. He's been an absolute machine. And I do think the Tampa Bay Rays, they strike out enough that we should see him be nicely able to get 8 or more strikeouts in this matchup. I'm also going to look at the Nerfy. We have a Jeffrey Springs coming out for the Tampa Bay Rays. I think he can do enough in that first inning to keep no runs on the board. The Nerfy's coming in at minus 132. Now, the Tampa Bay Rays haven't been hitting very well since the All-Star break. So I'm feeling like this is a great matchup here versus Sonny Gray for them to get all those strikeouts on the board and help us with Sonny Gray's strikeouts. And then when we look at Jeffrey Springs, he had a rough start in his last one out. I'm expecting more out of him in this one. Now, I'm not completely sold on that under because it's 7.5, but I do think it's going to be more of a pitching duel than a lot expect out here. So the Nerfy, my favorite play of this game at minus 132.
All right, little Nerfy action on the board for the people there in that one. Joe, what about this Astros game here tonight? As the Astros are on the road against the Texas Rangers, and Tyler Mahle is going to get the baseball for what is the first time in 2024.
Yeah, he hasn't pitched in the majors for like 15 months. Tyler Mahle, I think, will come out with some rust, just like we saw with Jeffrey Springs when he made his start for the Tampa Bay Rays. So I'm looking to fade him here, especially against Valdez. He's been so strong for the Houston Astros. I was kind of shocked by this line, Kevin. I expected to have to lay more juice for the Houston Astros in this matchup. So I'm going to grab them laying the minus 115. I also think Valdez can go deep into this game. His outs is coming in at 18.5. Now that's coming in at plus 148. When we look at Valdez and how deep he's been able to go into games in his last 10, he is averaging right on that 18.5. And I think there's a value here today for him to go nice and deep into this game. Now he's had a couple of games against weaker opponents than the Texas Rangers, which kind of has inflated his numbers here. But I'm not going to be shocked to see him go into that 7th inning here versus the Texas Rangers. So I'm going to take him over the 18.5 outs, and I will play the Houston Astros with him getting the start.
All right, makes some sense there. Looking for Framber Valdez to really try and step up for this Astros team. And I've seen some conversation around this group as to what are they going to be, as some have been able to catch, the big-time numbers on the Houston Astros here. You look at the wild card race right now, though. They're 5 back of the Kansas City Royals. I mean, it's very likely that the American League West is only going to put one team in the postseason. And when it comes to the Houston Astros, again, maybe teams have or bettors have been able to grab much better numbers than what's out there currently, but you are paying a tax when it comes to Houston. And it's a tax that I'm sure many are willing to pay due to their pedigree. If they are in, you're going to want a piece of them. I totally understand that. But for the Astros, it's going to come down to a race right now with the Mariners, and a race that I wouldn't fully count the Texas Rangers out of, because quite frankly, the Rangers at 5 back of Seattle are just 3.5 back of the Houston Astros. So this is a really interesting situation when we just think big picture, Joe, and I think these are the kind of conversations that we're trying to weave in a little bit more on a night-to-night basis. is these wild card races and these playoff races, because when it looks like, when you look at the American League right now, the Yankees, the Orioles, all right, they're going to be there. But even that, we don't know who's going to win an American League East crown right now. Those teams sit at both 67 and 46, but we expect them to at least be in the playoffs. The Astros at 7-1, we don't even know if they're going to be there.
Yeah, it's very true. The Houston Astros need to really step up their game. And facing the Texas Rangers here, it's pivotal that they come out nice and strong and get this win, especially with the pitching matchup they have tonight, Kevin. So each and every one of these games is so important to these teams. They can't let games slip like this where they do have that edge on the mound. So I think the Houston Astros have the ability to get there, but they have to really step it up to be able to do so.
We are going to take a look, though, at a few more games here. Joe's going to stick around, so we got plenty of time to continue to fly through the baseball board. But one of those teams that I did mention was the Kansas City Royals, and they've got Seth Lugo going tonight, Joe. Any interest in the Royals against the Red Sox?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Now, I played this game completely wrong yesterday. I expected a stronger pitching matchup. We had a total of 10, and we know that cruised over. The Boston Red Sox have all of the momentum right now, but I do think the Kansas City Royals can get it under control tonight with Seth Lugo getting the start. I really do have faith in him to come out nice and strong. Now, you're going to have to lay the juice at minus 132 with the Kansas City Royals, but we look at this pitching matchup, and I do think Seth Lugo is the stronger of the two pitchers. He's 13-5 on the season, Kevin, with a 2.57 ERA. I expect him to limit those bats of the Boston Red Sox, who have been phenomenally hot as of late. Now, Bellows is coming out. Bellows is 10-5 with a 5.13 ERA. And he's been sharper on the road. So we can't have mistakes out of the Kansas City Royals for them to be able to get this win today. I think this is a tight back and forth battle, as we saw yesterday. But at the end of the day, I think the Kansas City Royals end up getting the win here.
All right, one quick note from me with the Braves-Brewers game coming up momentarily. And I did almost miss this, but I don't think we will. Garrett Mitchell checks into this game as a lefty who could very well take advantage of Bryce Elder this season. Bryce Elder, a right-handed pitcher against left-handed bats, a .337 batting average allowed, 5 total home runs compared to just 1 homer allowed when he's in those righty-righty matchups there. Garrett Mitchell, 7-1. For a dinger if you'd like to get involved, but he's also minus 110 over the 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. I am going to play the hits, runs, RBI prop. I am going to decide during this break if I want to get involved with that dinger again at 7-1 right now. If you want some juice in there between the Brewers and the Braves, we're back with Joe Madden next.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night it is looking to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, So let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Back here on a Tuesday night, let's update your baseball board quickly. Marlins Reds, this is 1-0 Cincinnati right now with a Stevenson home run for the Dinger Tuesday crowd, and then it's 4-0 Giants. Elliot Ramos hit a home run in the 2-hole there, and then we did see a home run come from Michael Conforto, which is, of course, excellent for the Dinger Tuesday crowd. It's interesting, but while it's only 3 games, every run so far has been via the home run, which is what you want to see. And we are underway between the Blue Jays and the Orioles. And again, a reminder to people, but it was a late scratch for Grayson Rodriguez that put Albert Suarez on the mound for Baltimore. A little out of nowhere, just something to keep your eye on, and certainly shifts that game around a little bit. We're live here with Joe Madden. Joe, the main event tonight, I think, has to come from L.A. It's the Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies. When you look at this game here tonight, what are you looking at?
This is going to be a big game coming out here. Sanchez on the road has had his struggles. He's 1-4 with a 5.23 ERA. He's coming out for the Phillies tonight. And we look at the LA Dodgers. Freddie Freeman is back in this lineup. And I do think the Dodgers come out nice and strong and get those runs on the board. Now, they will be starting Kershaw here. And I do have more faith in Kershaw than I do in Sanchez. Kershaw rolls in 0-1 with a 5.87 ERA, though his overall numbers really don't depict how strong of a pitcher he is, in my opinion. And I think he can do enough to limit the Phillies bats, who we know have been cold as of late. So what I'm going to do in this one, Kevin, instead of looking at the full game total, I'm actually going to the Dodgers team total. I expect the Dodgers to be able to put up 5 runs on the board. Now, their original numbers coming in over 3.5 runs. You're going to have to lay the juice. I'm ulting it to 5 or 4.5 plus runs. That's coming in at plus 132. So they basically have to get 5 runs. And I do think at that plus 132 value, there's so much value here when we look at the Phillies and how many runs they've been giving up as slate, as well as how many runs the Dodgers have been able to put on the board. Now, I'm also going to look at a couple home run pops in this one. I think that is a great market to target in this game. Will Smith, I'm going to take for the home run now. He's got so much value. If you just want to take him for a run or an RBI, I don't blame you, but I do think that home run is in play. It's coming in at plus 630, and we know some of these players have been able to hit lefties better than others, and Will Smith is one of those guys. The other guy that I'm going to target is Hernandez. We know Hernandez can hit Sanchez nice and hard. He's coming in at plus 440 for the home run. And yeah, the Dodgers team total, that 3.5, it is minus 140. So I was just trying to remember that number in my head. I'd rather take the 4.5 and get that plus 132 money, because I do think the Dodgers, like they did yesterday, can put those 5 runs on the board. It's going to be a great matchup here. And I think the Dodgers could even explode and go 6, 7, 8 runs in this game, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm interested, Joe, and maybe the full game total is going to be a good play here in some of the Phillies bats. I'm trying to be cautious with Clayton Kershaw, but obviously the 2 games that he's gone through so far, it's what we have to go off of, and it's not looked good. Now, you go through this Phillies lineup, they're great against lefties, even the lefties. Schwarber hits 340. Think about that. Kyle Schwarber is hitting 340 against lefties. Kyle Schwarber. You got Bryce Harper hitting over 300 against lefties. You've got Trey Turner, JT Realmuto as well. I mean, that's 4 key guys in this lineup, all batting 300 plus against left-handed pitching. Trey Turner's the most interesting. The Dinger's plus 450. The hits, runs, RBIs minus 130. I'm trying to figure that out. As again, I'm going to look to add throughout the Dinger Tuesday card. And we did, by the way, place that Garrett Mitchell plus 700 number. Joe Madden encouraged on that, so how could we not? Joe, what about the Rockies game with the New York Mets? Is there anything you like in that one?
Yeah, I think we got a home dog in the Colorado Rockies, which is crazy to say, but the plus money that we're getting on them with Kyle Freeman getting the start is too much for me to say no to. Kyle Freeman has been strong at home. We look at his numbers at home. It's really interesting. He's got a 1.88 ERA in 24 innings pitched. So it's not a huge sample size of what he's doing here at home, but I think it is enough here versus the Mets. I think they can get it done and sneak this one out. It's my favorite underdog of the day at plus 125. I'm going to take a chance on Kyle Freeman and the Colorado Rockies to get it done here versus the New York Mets with Severino coming out and getting the start. Now, Severino is servable. He's 7-3 on the season with a 3.93 ERA. So it's going to be a tough one here. It's not going to be an easy win for the Rockies. The books have made them a dog for a reason, but I think they have every ability, if Kyle Freeman comes out nice and strong, to be able to get the win. So if you want to look at them in the first 5 innings instead of the full game, probably the safer way. But we know the Mets bullpen, it can collapse at a drop of a dime. So I took them full game here. I love it at plus 125, Kevin.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense there. I'm looking for the under in this game, though, at 11.5 right now. And again, I think even in a world where the Rockies win, there are a few Mets guys for home runs that could pop off. Maybe it's a Vientos, a Brandon Nimmo. Again, I try not to. I don't do this too often where I worry as much about prices on a Dinger Tuesday. But Vientos at plus 320 is a little bit under than what I would have wanted that to be. His RBI prop, I do think, can be found at plus money, which I'm going to try and take a little couple pokes out there. Joe, anything else that we've missed from the baseball card? Anything else we need to keep our eyes on?
Well, you know we're going to fade the Chicago White Sox again. It's just how much we really want to go in on the Oakland A's here with Ross Stripling getting the start. I'd play this a little cautious. We know the Chicago White Sox at some point are going to break this losing streak. I'd look more at Oakland for their team total to the over. That's how I played it yesterday instead of just going straight up and taking them on the run line, because the Oakland A's, I don't want to put my money on the run line, but that team total, this is a team that offensively has been getting those runs on the board. And off of Cannon here, I expect them to continue to get those runs today, Kevin.
Yeah, listen, this is a situation that has been pretty remarkable to watch for the White Sox. 27-88. It's pretty crazy. It's really wild. The A's, by the way, at home are almost a 500 ball club there. So, for Oakland, you're better off fading on the road. The White Sox are 10-48 outside of Chicago. Not good. Joe, we appreciate it. As always, best of luck with the baseball slate.
Best of luck, everyone. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, it's a quick break. We're live with you right here on SportsGrid. We'll check in with some of the top NFL news around the league as training camps are heating up. That's next.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night it is looking to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the target, right hand from my boy, double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, live with you right here, Game Time Decisions. I know some people out there trying to make nighttime decisions, as in, what do you want for dinner? It's a good question. What I want for dinner is dingers, people. We don't have enough yet, as far as I'm concerned. Or is that a lie? Who do I even, is Pasquantino out there yet? Not yet. That's all right. We got the Conforto one. We did see a strikeout for close personal friend Gunnar Henderson, who started to get that RBI train back and rolling there, which is good. I don't want to have to worry about that 79.5 number. I don't think I will need to. Let's re-rack your baseball card quickly. I know Seb, we talked some football. We will talk football. We've got Adam Kaplan stopping by here on the show. But I'm on Guardians money line, rain delay. So we'll see what happens if we get that baseball game. I'm on Pirates and Padres under. They played an inning and a half. Scoreless, not bad. Can we make that official? That's in a rain delay now as well. I'm also on Rockies Mets under the 11.5. I have not figured out what I want to just do yet with that game, man. It's a little difficult there. Brandon Nimmo is in a good spot in the lineup because he's batting second. Vientos kind of pops off the page, but he's batting fifth. I would use a tick higher. That RBI number's interesting. I'm on the under already in the game. Is it worth it? Feel like it could be a get-in, get-out special on a dinger prop. Jose Iglesias has the longest odds at 8-1. If we kind of want to keep pushing the envelope there, I'm not sure what the move is going to be from that game. But outside of that under 11.5, we've got Cubbies money line, -108. Man, we have weather eliminating some games. Well, they believe the weather is going to eliminate the runs here, 6. Excited to talk about Consig. Decided to talk to Consig a little bit later on, his thoughts on that, and kind of a decision to post that 5.5 overnight, which is what we did see for that game. And then we've got a player prop here pitching an under in Kiter Montero, under 16.5. He goes tonight for the Detroit Tigers against the Seattle Mariners. I'm going to look for some Victor Robles props there, ideally, as well. See if we can potentially get involved. Garrett Mitchell lets an opportunity pass him by there, though. Man on third, 1 out. All you needed to do was put the ball in play, and you could have at least got half of the 1.5 hits, runs, RBI through the door. But also a lot of time still to go. Again, we're going to talk to Adam Kaplan here. I think the one thing probably we should talk about just quickly to set the stage is the races for starting quarterbacks. A lot of teams released their official depth charts. Jaden Daniels, no surprise, has been named the top man for Washington. He's going to play some preseason football as well. He's going to open that game as the starter. Washington is completely and wholly invested in Jaden Daniels. Bo Nix, though, actually was third on the depth chart. Books don't buy it as much, -162 right now for Bo Nix to be the week 1 starter. Jared Stidham is +126, and if you'd like to throw some money down the drain, you can. That would be a 70-1 Zach Wilson number for the Denver Broncos and the starting quarterback slot that they have right now, still trying to figure out. Jacoby Brissett, -1,200, that he's going to get the nod there for the New England Patriots, with Drake May's price being +630. Raiders, I know Cap's been talking about this with people, the back and forth between Aiden O'Connell, who's currently the favorite at -140, and Gardner Minshew at +110 to get that job. But maybe the most interesting and the one that's going to grab a lot of headlines is the Steelers changing their tone a little bit, at least publicly, that the job is open between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Russ is the depth chart number 1, -340. I think this team wants Russell to start week number 1. If you made me pick right now, it would certainly be Russell Wilson. But this number on Justin Fields getting that job is dropping. But I think what's more important than the dropping nature of that number, and what's more important than who even actually starts week number 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers in Atlanta against the Falcons, it's that the fact that Justin Fields is already cutting in to that Russell Wilson slot says we're going to see Justin Fields unless Russell Wilson is great. Good. If Russell Wilson is good. If he's great, that's a different story. But Russ is legitimately going to have to play well enough to keep Fields at bay. And it's not just going to be wins and losses. Is Justin Fields as live as it feels to take this job? We can talk to Adam Kaplan about that and a lot more because we are certainly right now in a busy point in the calendar as the road to kickoff is certainly underway. That's next with you live on Game Time Decisions.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night it is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Carry on the target. Right hand from my boy, double champion. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, we're live right here, Game Time Decisions, and we've got NFL insider Adam Kaplan with us here on SportsGrid. Cap, good to get a chance to talk to you. Let's get right to it here. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the odds are moving quite a bit. Now, Russ is still minus 340, right? Which is, of the guys on the board, it's not the bottom, it's not Jacoby Brissett, but it was supposed to be a foregone conclusion that this would be Russell Wilson's job with the Steelers. What's your read on that quarterback battle?
Yeah, Kevin, good to be with you. Yeah, it's interesting. So talking to the Steelers, just last couple of months, talking to people there, and also adding what Mike Tomlin said, it's pretty clear that Russell Wilson was going to be the starter this season. Well, put an asterisk. He's gotten hurt. Justin Fields has taken the ones, and he's done some good things. Now, Kevin, I could tell you from talking to people who've worked with Justin Fields before, and knowing what the Bears thought and what they were dealing with, and looking at the lack of interest. There was some interest, by the way, from other teams in Justin Fields, but they all kind of knew he's very gifted but very inconsistent. He had this unbelievable stretch last season. He was phenomenal. You might remember that Washington game when him and DJ Moore went off. They were phenomenal, but he's never been able to put it together. And with the way that the Steelers want to win, talking to the Steelers forever, it's run the ball, win with defense, make the passing game secondary. And that's really been the case for many, many years, and particularly since Roethlisberger's retired. But they've been about balance. That's what Mike Tomlin wants. He wants defense. He wants a running game, which they definitely have. But Justin Fields, Kevin, as you were kind of alluding to before I came on here in the previous segment, he adds something to it, man. He is dynamic with the ball in his hands. He just has got to play with better accuracy, play more under control, let the plays happen with, again, is a run-first offense with the Steelers.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, right, Cap? And if you were to tell me week one who gets a better point spread, right? Who if you look those guys that way, it's probably Russell Wilson. But I don't think there's any debate that Justin Fields has that higher ceiling. And if you're the Steelers, I think it's time to get over this whole 8-1, 9-8. We always find a way stuff, man. Showing up to the playoffs every year, sneaking in as a wild card team and getting your doors blown off. I saw the other day someone say Tomlin was a top 5 coach, and I'm not trying to disparage Mike Tomlin, but I think to some degree, it's almost holding this team back. It's a slingshot. You got to go back to go forward. And this team's just stayed here. But if Tomlin is still as great, Cap, as a lot of us believe he is, you get a chance to put a guy like Justin Fields under center with what should always be a good defense, because it's always a good defense, if not a great defense. And maybe Pittsburgh can do a lot more than flirt with a playoff spot.
All right, so a couple things. First of all, Mike Tomlin, who's never had a losing record, also has not won a playoff game since the 2017 season. That's a concern. Now, I think that his defenders would tell you Ben Roethlisberger, before he got hurt or before he retired, he suffered through a lot of injuries. He was not the same quarterback. They haven't got it right at quarterback since he retired. So it's not his fault. He doesn't have personnel control. He's the head coach. He controls, he oversees his players, but he doesn't make the personnel decisions, although he has a hand in it. The bottom line is they've got to get the quarterback position right. And I know, talking to Steelers, Kevin, they think with Wilson, who you mentioned, and Fields, they fortified the room. It's going to be better. And I don't disagree with that, but Russell Wilson's available for a reason. He got benched with Denver. It didn't work with Denver. And he had to move on. And they're thinking, talking to the Steelers, and they keep bringing this up to me, hey, he had 26 touchdowns last season. And that's fine. But he also got benched. And you wonder, and you were kind of alluding to this, what is he at this point of his career? He's another quarterback. Give him a running game. Don't put it all on him. And by the way, Arthur Smith, who I need to mention, the offense coordinator, he's a run-based play caller. The pass attempts per game, you're looking at low 30s, which is below kind of where you normally would have it, mid to high 30s. That's not what they want. They want it low 30s, win with that running game of defense. That's what's coming here. And that's why they think if you don't, Kevin, put it on those quarterbacks, they've got a better chance to win. But there's a reason why these two guys are available.
And God, there's some conversation the Steelers could be involved in with Brandon Ayuk. Patriots are getting tossed around. The Browns. Are you hearing anything around the Brandon Ayuk Niners situation?
Yeah, all right. Pharrell and I were talking about it earlier, so I could give you sort of my Cliff Notes version based on my reporting and talking to people and what I know. So, look, Brandon Ayuk, let's start with the Niners, right? The Niners do want to extend his contract, but they don't want to pay him market value. He's under contract on his 5th-year option. And for them, and it's not his fault, he's a 1A, kind of like Devontae Smith with the Eagles, where A.J. Brown is making $32 million. Devontae Smith got $25 million a season. He's a great football player, by the way. Would be a number 1 with another team. But for the Eagles, he's a 1A. For the Niners, you've got George Kittle. You've got Deebo Samuel. You've got now Ricky Pearsall, by the way, their first-round receiver. I know he's hurt right now. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. He had a hamstring injury, which I'm told is fully healed. He actually looked good getting back to practice last week. Oh, by the way, Christian McCaffrey in the pass game, by the way, he's dealing with a calf injury. But, Kevin, there's so many mouths to feed, they don't feel like they could justify paying him market value. And it's not like, from what I understand, it's not like Ike wants out. He wants to go somewhere, whether it's the Niners or somewhere else, where he's going to get paid. Now, you mentioned the Steelers. The Steelers have had interest really going back for months. Once they knew that the contract was not getting done, or they weren't there yet, they kept an eye on it. As I've used this term, they were monitoring the situation. They've talked to the Niners. This is nothing new. Now, from the Steelers' standpoint, Kevin, yes, as I said earlier, they don't want to throw the ball a lot, but you need starting receivers. George Pickens is a stud. They don't know who's going to start opposite him, not only this year, but for the future. Again, when you make a trade like this, it's not about 1 year. You're giving up draft compensation. You're probably going to have to give the Niners back a receiver. And the bottom line is, when you're the Steelers, they need to know who's going to start opposite Pickens for the future. That is why they're interested. The Commanders, they talked to the Niners during the draft. They could not reach a resolution. They still have interest. They're not there. They've been monitoring the situation. They want to get Jahan Dotson, as I understand it. They want to get him going here. You got Terry McLaurin, who's great, Kevin, but they need to get Dotson going, and they don't even know who their third receiver is. Though I'm told Olamide Zaccheaus, who's a former Falcon and Eagles, had a very good camp right now. He would be their number 3 receiver. Season started today, and don't forget, Kevin, Cliff Kingsbury, the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator, is a guy who runs a spread offense. So they want a lot of receivers, and they don't have enough of them that really accomplished. And the Browns, and this is what's kind of lost on people. People look at their depth chart and their roster and go, oh, what? Why would the Browns want Brandon Ayuk? Again, look past the season. Amari Cooper's contract's up after the season. Elijah Moore, who they acquired a couple years ago from the Jets, his contract is up. So what you have is Jerry Jeudy, who signed an extension over $17 million a season. They don't know who their starter of the future would be past this season, hence their interest, as I understand it, in Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. Now, Kat, let me ask you this before we let you get out of here. And again, I'm sure we'll check in a few other times, but I know you're making the rounds around camp.
Yep.
And I know you've seen some stuff from the Giants. I know you'll see more. What's the feeling around Daniel Jones right now?
Looks healthy. I'm glad you brought him up because it's gotten chippy. I was with both teams yesterday at their practice or joint practice in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and it was super chippy. I know there was a fight today. At least there was a lot of pushing. But bottom line is he looks good. I'm told he's healthy. In fact, I saw him roll out. He rolled out and he avoided a pass rusher. You can't tackle the quarterback. You're not supposed to hit him. But the bottom line is he moved well. His arm is good. And by the way, if you're a Giants fan, they're pretty fast. Okay, they've got plenty of speed. That's not the problem. They need more size at the receiver position, but they could run. And the issue for them is protection. They've never quite gotten it right on their offensive line, Kevin. Their offensive lines add at least 2 new starters. Might have 3. They're going to be much better on offense. And I know Daniel Jones gets beaten up by the media and the fans. He's got to be healthy. You saw what happened 2 years ago. They were a playoff team with Daniel Jones as the quarterback.
Yeah, he was still terrible, though. He still did a whole lot of nothing, I'll be honest with you, Cap. But, hey, listen, we'll see how it turns out. Cap, always appreciate it. Enjoy the road.
You got it, man.
All right, great stuff there from Cap. Again, his big claim to fame was he just stopped throwing interceptions, and then because he was playing the Vikings, who were the worst defense in the league, 2 of the last 3 games, and then he played the Eagles, he kept throwing picks. I mean, I'm not wrong. I know I'm not wrong.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Look, left hand from Rockwell. Right hand right back from Mike Perry. Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah, we'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC's 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the target. Right hands from Mike Perry. Double check. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, let's make it happen. What are we talking about, folks? We're talking about a little Major League Baseball here with Dave Sharapan Consig with the A's gear on. Let's start with this, Dave.
Yep.
What do the books need? They need the A's or do they need the White Sox? What are people doing these days?
There's not a book on planet Earth or Mars or the moon that needs the A's tonight. They need the White Sox every day for a month while you're out combing the beaches out in the western part of the United States. The White Sox have continued to lose while you're gone.
Sure have.
All you need to do is show up at the A's tonight, cash the ticket. I'll be on with Wetzel later.
Simple.
You can make a bet right now that the Black Cloud play of the night, and I haven't even looked, is the Oakland A's because I've been out and about all day today, and there's not a single person that's betting the White Sox tonight, except maybe one or two that want to take a shot, and that's fine. The next win, when is it coming, Kevin? When is it coming? Tonight?
Well,
tomorrow?
It could be tonight. They do have the better pitcher tonight, I think
They
I would
do.
argue.
Yes.
Lineups are not great, obviously.
I love when you say
I'll
that.
say, now, again, now let's see. What do we got? 21 here? 22,
Yes, sir.
23, 24, 25. So they get to 25, then it would be 3 against the Yanks and 3 against the Astros.
They better win before
They're
that,
definitely.
Kevin.
I disagree. They will definitely. They'll take a game off both those teams. Are you kidding me? White hot White Sox is what they'll be calling them by that. Like, here's the real trick.
What?
Because here's what's going to happen. Let's say they beat Oakland tonight, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to lose the next game. People are like, oh, streak could be back up. And then they'll bet the Cubs, right? And then boom, Cubs beat them twice in a row. People go, we're here, and I'm in on the ground floor. Slam them. Yanks are free. Uh-oh. What do you mean Rodon gave up 6 in the first? What do you mean? I didn't know Brent Rooker. Well, I wasn't familiar with your game. Yeah. Brent Rooker's the Ace, but you get the story. Louis Robert might all of a sudden have something to say about it. I'm just telling you, it's how it goes. That's what I'm thinking.
So
now, here's
no matter
the thing.
what happens between now and then, you're saying they take a game from the Yankees and a game from the Astros?
Yeah. Yeah, figure out my pricing.
Clip
figure
this.
out my pricing.
We're writing it down. We're telling everybody if it's right because I heard you talking about the Steelers situation with Cap.
Right.
Listen, I know you know there's one guy for the job to play quarterback in Pittsburgh. You know who it is.
That's right.
There's only
Everyone
one guy.
knows that.
Yeah.
That's
it's
right.
not Russ.
Yep.
It's not.
No.
You got to have a guy who can physically perform the job. He's getting the reps with the ones. He's building up all that equity. Let's run a ball, play defense, keep him upright. He knows how to slide. He's a good athlete. I just want a quarterback to play the majority, not the majority. If there's 17 games, I want him to play 15 or 16 and sit out the last one because the game doesn't matter. That's what we want. And the only guy to do that is Justin Fields. Russ has already got a calf problem. Can't have it.
Right.
Come on.
Can't have it. Can't win with it.
Can't
win with it.
Can't win with it.
Justin Fields, Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens.
So wait a second.
Might have something.
Brandon Ayuk is not going to be a Steeler, is he? I mean, we did BVB today. Peralta already has him in New England. Other people are saying he's going to Cleveland. He can pick. He's going to pick. Ayuk is going to pick.
Tyreek
why
picked.
would he go to New England, Kevin? Please tell me why.
Most money, right? I mean, that's what you would imagine. I mean, that's how New England wins this battle. They can't win it really any other way.
Is there any chance he stays in San Francisco? You know what's important? Like, the money's great, and you always want to get more. And if they double your salary, then maybe you got to go. But, like, I like winning. Winners
I'm going to be
win.
honest with you, Dave. Yeah, Dave. No, that's great. That's great, all right? An NFL player has a
small window,
finite amount of time
small window
to make that money.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And Brandon Ayuk has an opportunity to make that money. Now, he could wait it out a year and stay with the Niners. Guess what? That workload might shrink because not only do they have Debo McCaffrey, Kittle, they also now added his replacement in Ricky Pearsall.
Oh.
That's not what you need. Also, it's a fickle game we play. Injuries pop in. So all of a sudden, guess what? I hung around. Guess what? We lost again because, of course, we did. Because apparently the worst thing that could happen to my head coach is a double-digit lead in a Super Bowl.
Opening up old
And the next thing you know, the money that was there today isn't there tomorrow.
Gone. Bye-bye.
So, listen, I get what you're saying, right? But I also think we have to, when we talk about a guy like, let's think, Paul George, take a little bit of less to win. Harden, take a little bit of less to win, right? That's probably where those guys are at in their career. Yep. Also, if Paul George signs another NBA contract, he might buy an NFL team, quite frankly, with the way that those contracts work.
Yes,
like, for Brandon Ayuk, I don't think he's in the take less business because also I'm not really sure what the Niners are offering because the Niners keep saying we'd love to keep him. At what price? I mean, what's going on? I haven't heard a single report on what the Niners have offered the kid. Have you?
I have not, but I have been focused on baseball and some Olympics and some other stuff. The numbers, guys, all we focus on is the games and the numbers. Like the speculation and all this other talk, it's great for us, content business.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I don't care what they're offering him. I just need to know if he's leaving San Francisco or not so I can move the number, if I have to, on either the Browns or the Patriots or the Steelers. I mean, he has a big impact no matter where he goes, but he ain't turning the Patriots into a playoff team, and he's got either Jacoby Brissett or Drake May throwing him the ball there. The quarterback situation is a little different in Cleveland. Okay. The wide receiver, as you know from talking to Donnie, who basically invented the receiver room, you need a quarterback to throw you the ball. You can be the best wide receiver in the world. You need a quarterback to throw you the ball to get those numbers.
Yeah, you do. But guess what? If you're Brandon Ayuk and you get a 3-4 year deal from New England, you have plenty of time for them to let Drake May become the quarterback to throw you the football. That's just the reality of it. All of a sudden, the clock isn't ticking in the same way. You have time on your side. Now, we haven't even talked about the most important thing on tonight's baseball slate yet. We'll do that next.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Look left hand from Rockhold. Right hand right back from Mike Perry. Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is proving to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Perry on the target. Right hand from Mike Perry. Double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, game time decisions. Dave, last night a total was posted.
Oh.
Between two base players. Look at him.
I already know what it is.
Cubs Twins sits at 6. Some spot 6.5. Last night it's 5.5. I don't. Can the win really be that impactful? I mean, my goodness gracious.
We have dear friends of ours, both on the network and people that watch the network, and I hope everything's okay down in Florida with Hurricane Debbie and all of those winds. But they might as well be playing the game there. I can't believe it. Somebody asked me earlier today, what's the lowest number you ever put up in a book for a baseball game? And it was 6, and it was DeGrom, and the game finished 2-1. So it can go under, and 5.5 is a hockey total, not a baseball total. And I saw that last night, and I sent a text to a guy in a book and said, is that for real? Wind's supposed to be real bad tomorrow. I went, wow, okay. They got the over bet that they wanted, went to 6 this morning. It's been 6 all day. I'll click refresh right now on my odds screen, and we are looking at 6 over -15 is the highest number there is on the board. So this might be one of those stop signs. Are you looking to get involved in this one? POD?
I would have. So I could have got involved last night on the 5.5 if I wanted to, because quite frankly, I hate this wind stuff. I forgot that they weren't allowed to hit ground balls and walk batters anymore. All of a sudden, because it's windy, I'm gonna be. He can tell too. He's tuning me
Swing
up. It
angle.
drives me
Up.
nuts.
Everybody hits it up every time. Nobody hits it down no more, Kevin. They stopped teaching it.
Again, like my only thing is if I just picked up Wheeler and Skeens and I threw him here, like the total would be 4. Like what? This is so stupid.
This isn't Drysdale and Bob Gibson. For those of you watching the show, you have to Google them and look them up. But they were really good pitchers. Sandy Koufax going tonight against Warren Spahn. What are we doing? 6? All that being said,
I last night. I'll tell you this. Last night, DK had the 5.5, FanDuel had the 6.5. I almost said, I'll take this. If it lands 6, miracle. I said, you know what? No, I'm just letting it be because I'm worried right now about Dennis Schroeder's unders, points, and assists. Come on, now we got more important stuff on the card. But
are you pretty excited about your U.S. Olympic team right now? I mean, this men's team, they finally covered a game. They blew them out. Blew out finally. Brazil.
What are you saying finally about, too? What are you saying finally about?
Well, they haven't they've been casually showing up, not covering big numbers,
they
but they actually lose
Serbia.
a game.
I mean,
come on.
Yeah, you rooting against them?
No.
Come on. A little bit. No?
No.
A little bit. No one? Anyone you know rooting against them?
Oh, there's every book in the world is rooting against them. That's the
forget
biggest
that.
liability.
I mean, that's different.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, though? It's funny. Now that you say that, I should, because I got a text from not the guy, but another guy with some similarities who asked me if he should lay the -400 on them to win gold. So, yeah, that must be some liability.
Believe me, a lot of people that don't get involved normally on a college football Saturday or a baseball game because the price is too high. The price wasn't too high for the USA. It was not, Kevin. There are a lot of people that went, it's better than getting a CD. God forbid you got it in stocks and bonds or whatever right now with the markets.
Yeah.
Just bet it on the USA.
To be fair, right? it does. It still doesn't really look like it's the right number with the way things are going. Like, it's -6. I just put that up again. Like, we shouldn't be -900 yet with this outright market.
If it was our book, Kevin, we would have done that, especially after we did our segment that went viral where you talked about the 92 team versus this team, who would be favored.
Yeah.
It's all over. We would have just said, look, come get it. We're putting up -900 to start. Let's get there. Come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the because at the end of the day, what people would have bet all those Canada. Here's the reality, right? If you would have done that, you would have had people bet Canada at 20 and France at 20. Guess what? Canada's gone and France has still got a bigger number than 20 with the way that they've looked at this tournament.
Come on in. See, now you're getting it.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Close this show
we're
out
starting
strong.
again. All right, Dave, be good. Look, dingers are on the board right now. We got Pasquantino coming up. We are going to try and get some more out to you as the night goes on. Let's stay locked in, people. Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh, I'll see you Thursday. You've got up next. It's going to be In Game Live right here on Sports Grid.